Good morning. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Kate Edwards. I'm a member of the New York City Hospitality Group and the founder of Kate Edwards & Company. I'm also the educational chair for this group, and today we are going to share a webinar where we're featuring a number of our members. And just to back up a moment, the New York City Hospitality Group is a group of like-minded professionals. We're a resource group, and we provide support to one another as well as services to our clients in the hospitality world. If you're not familiar, please visit us at nychg.org to see more about our events and members, and visit our Facebook page, New York City Hospitality Group Hotline, to pose live questions to our group of professionals. I'm just going to share my screen for a second so you can see who our professionals include. We have an amazing group of folks who are joining us today. We have people who represent all sorts of areas of the industry, and we have about half of our group presenting nuggets from their point of view. So I'm going to start with a nugget. Let's see. Technical, hold on one second. Thank you so much. So today's talk is about increasing revenues and minimizing costs starting right now. So for those of you who are reopening, it's crucial your operation is optimized in order to succeed. So today we're going to talk about actionable and practical methods for maximizing every table and cutting extraneous costs. So from my point of view, I focus on leadership and also on customer service. For me, one of the ways that you can increase costs is by developing your regular guests. So there is something called the 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle. 80% of your sales comes from 20% of your guests. So now more than ever, it's important to build your regular clientele. Now, I have a number of clients who've been telling me that while they see people frequenting their business, and while their numbers might not be the same, they're still seeing people who are starting to come back again and again, both for takeout and for dine-in in the outdoor terrace areas. So this is wonderful news. If you can generate those people, more regulars, they are certain to come back. So the question remains, how do you build your guests? How do you build your regular guests? And the first thing is through trust. So how do you build trust? You've got to show people that you're trustworthy. So first, show that you're trustworthy. And this is something I call by demonstrating strategic cleaning. Now, we all know that we're cleaning our restaurants, and every operator I know is going to great lengths to clean his or her restaurants. But in the front of the house, you want to do what I call strategic cleaning, which is cleaning in front of the guests. So someone like the host who might normally be feeling so many people coming in and out, you're not going to have as many people. Have that person spritzing down hand railings or door handles, things like that, so you can see and inspire the trust in your customers. They're likely to come back. The second thing is inspire hospitality. So every time a stranger walks in, they could walk out a regular guest. So show hospitality. And with masks on, you're going to have to be a bit overt about it. So use that body language. Show them that you're happy. Show them that it means a lot that they're coming in. I even had a client who said for regular guests, they throw kisses. So don't be afraid to throw air kisses to people. And really show your appreciation. If someone's coming in, that means they're choosing you over somebody else. So treat those first timers like they're your regulars. Make friends, because that will make a lasting impression. And then the last one, maximize your step of ordering. In terms of the steps of service, you have one chance to really maximize the check. I went out recently for dinner at an outdoor terrace, and what I noticed is that people generally order, eat, drink, and leave. So you only have one chance to order. So that means offer your team ways to upsell easily. Offer things like a wine pairing or wine or beverage specials. Maybe have a prefix menu that makes sure that you're maximizing the check all in one moment, and also put things like desserts on the check so people can see it, and have a pre-order for desserts. So that's part of the spiel at the table. These are all ways to make sure that every guest that's in there is going to have a maximized check. So trust is something that has to be built. So if you can be trustworthy, you're more likely to bring your guests back, and this will impact your bottom line order by order and table by table. This actually leads in perfectly to our first speaker, our next speaker, Chandra Geis. She's from Resi. Chan, how are you today? Oops. Chan, are you ready to go? There she is. What have you got for us today, Chan? All right. Looks like Chan might be having some technical difficulties. Nandu, are you ready to step in?
I am.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Chan, we'll get back to you in a minute. Nandu, the time is yours.
Thank you, Kate. And thank you for everyone who's here today. I'm Nandu Avatramani. I'm a business coach and advisor to ambitious restaurant owners, and I help you make a lot more money and lead a better life. Been talking to a lot of restaurant owners. A couple of my clients also sat down last week, and I sensed a lot of confusion about the government rules around COVID regulations, confusion about, should we open, when's indoor coming? Is it even going to come? Is this current economic model sustainable? And what the hell should we do right now? And I just felt that frustration and anxiety. And it came down to just being in a place of survival. Like, we got to just survive right now. We just don't know how long things are going to go this way. And all we can do right now that's in our control is try our best to increase revenues and cut costs and see how long we can pull this. So today I want to share with you what I shared with them last week, which was 3 specific things you can do right now to increase revenues and cut costs. The first thing that I suggest you do is plan out your actions. That means your employees need to know exactly what they're supposed to do to help you increase revenues, which means use your P&L as a planning tool, not just as a reporting tool at the end of the month. Actually, literally put down your revenues, put down your costs, look at what the month's going to look like. It doesn't have to be accurate. Just put it down there and look at it and say, okay, we're about to make X dollars this month. We're going to incur so much cost. This is how much loss or profit we're going to make. Now, what can we do to make it better? Once you have that P&L drafted out, it brings more clarity to you and your team in this time of uncertainty and unknown. And that reduces the stress and kind of puts a point in the horizon where everyone can sail towards together. So use your P&L as a planning tool, not just a reporting tool. The second thing I suggest is you're going to be putting a lot of money behind labor, and at a time when you don't have much money. So you want to hire the right people and make sure that they're high performers so that they help you increase revenues. So how do you know that the people that you're rehiring or hiring new employees are the right employees for you? One way that I suggest you can do is ask yourself this question before you hire or rehire this person is, are you enthusiastically rehiring this person if they worked for you? Ask yourself this question. If you aren't enthusiastic about rehiring this person, hold on to those dollars. Don't spend them on this person. Hold on. Even though it might be tough, even though it might be desperate, hold on for a couple of days till you find somebody that you are enthusiastic about hiring, because you're going to be working with a smaller team. You want the team to get to work well with each other, to follow your guidance, to understand how tough it is, to understand costs need to be maintained. We need more money coming in, and everyone needs to work in unison. The third thing that I suggest you could do is move third delivery party orders for home delivery onto your own platform. So if you do not have a platform that takes orders, do it immediately. I think Scott is going to speak a lot about this today. What I suggest you do is every time you have an order that's going out by a third party delivery that doesn't share customer data with you, put in a note in the bag on how they can order with you the next time directly so that you bring back your business to your organization. One of my clients has 80% of his online orders coming directly to his website. It's a very high number, but it's a number that's real that you can work towards. The simplest way is put that note in the bag, make it clear, next order, please click here, or please order here, and put your website and make it really attractive and easy to access, and take back control of your customers. So all the three things that I've shared with you is really giving you more control of what you can do right now, which is use your P&L as a planning tool, not just a reporting tool, to align everybody to work together and have more clarity in this time of uncertainty. The second is enthusiastically rehire people, otherwise hold on to spending those dollars and unnecessarily spending on costs that you're not going to be happy with. And the third is steal back your customers. And to do that is to put that note in the bag and get them back. And I hope this increases your revenues and cut costs. Thank you. Thanks, Kate. Over to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Nandu. So next up, we have Tara Berman from Tara Page Consulting. Tara, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
The floor is yours.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. As Kate mentioned, Tara Berman from Tara Page Group. We do full service accounting from day-to-day transactional bookkeeping to controllership to CFO. We like to say that we're your in-house team. We just sit in a different spot. And I think we can all comfortably say that today we're all sitting in a different spot. So, you know, as we're looking at what's happening in the industry, for every restaurant owner, there's really three things that we can control or sort of control. It's sales, it's vendor management, which is invoicing, and then payroll. And what we're looking at with our clients is really understanding how to manage that vendor, how to manage your vendors. So first off, from a terms perspective, what are the terms with all our vendors? And can we cut deals with our vendors? And then for products that we're using on a day-to-day basis to, you know, for our sales, what products are coming in-house? And so there's three things really that we're talking about with our clients of how we can better manage our vendors. First off, we probably all of us have vendors or an outstanding AP sitting on the books that you're probably looking at and thinking, my goodness, how am I going to get through all of the AP that's sitting on my books? First off, you want to think, okay, who am I using today that I need to use in order to sell day-to-day products? For those that you're using on a day-to-day basis, go back to your vendors, because I think everyone understands we're all in the same situation, and say, okay, maybe I have 10,000, 20,000 sitting on my books. Can I cut a deal with you today? So maybe the 10,000 on the books, maybe we whittle it down to 8, and I will continue to order from you on a day-to-day basis to sell the products that I need to sell in order to make sales. We've had this happen, and we've gone back to vendors and cut those deals, and it's been very effective. And so, you know, what we're looking at is, again, how to minimize the cost. We've all gotten our PPP money. Hopefully we've all gotten it, and has certainly been helpful. And it's really about stretching those dollars. We all know we're coming across as we head into, you know, the fall. It's not in the winter. It's not going to be easy, but it's how do we stretch our dollars? We can stretch our dollars by, again, going back to the vendors, cutting the deals, and also then looking at and really being cautious and careful about what products you're being in-house. So as much as we want to minimize costs, I'm a big believer, and especially coming from the accounting perspective, that one thing that is very helpful for clients today that we're working with are those clients that are using an invoice management system or an inventory system. And again, you know, these systems don't, and all these systems out there, there's so many wonderful ones, from Extra Chef to Craftable to Plate IQ. So many great systems, and regardless of what system you're using, you want to better understand your costs. And so this is not a time to, I would say, not manage manage from a high. This is about a time where you're digging into the details and looking at every product you're bringing in-house and how is that product bringing a return on your investment. And, you know, for us working with different clients, utilizing these systems are helping us better manage our costs and actually reducing the expenses that we're paying. And, you know, when we look at this, the next piece obviously is payroll. I'm a big believer that we're all right now doing less, or we're doing more with less. And so the staff that we brought on, think about how you can stretch your staff. And I'm sure you all have already stretched your staff. I'm sure all of you are stretched. But I want you to think about what your team members can do and how to give them more opportunity in a different area whereby you can really maximize your payroll. And so for me, it's really 2 points. Looking at your vendors and maximizing your payroll through doing more with less. Thank you.
Terrific. Thank you very much. Who's up next? We've got Scott Landers from Figure 8 Consulting. Thanks for joining today.
Thanks, Kate. Great to be with you. I really wanted to build off of some of the points, but before that, I'm Scott Landers with Figure 8 Logistics. I own and am a systems engineer. We focus fully on helping restaurants build out their delivery program, mostly working with small independent restaurants to build out their native delivery program in particular. And what I love so much about delivery is you really get to play on both sides of the P&L, really maximizing revenue and cutting costs. So the first thing to know about delivery is that there are 4 components to any delivery program, whether you're one restaurant or 1,000. The first one is your online ordering component. Delivery is offsite, and so all orders are placed online. To Nandu's point, if you don't have an online ordering system that is on your website, that's exactly where I would start. There's only so much you can do with third party, and ultimately you're giving away the guests. So the first step is to take back the power, and you got to give the place somewhere to go. So whether that's listing your phone number or signing up with any one of the amazing services that have come out over the last 6 months, it's now easier than ever to build out an online ordering system that is your brand, your photos, and your control. The second part is then operations. And so this means when we get into the kitchen, what can we do to cross-utilize ingredients, cross-utilize packaging? It all comes down to getting the most out of everything you're bringing into the restaurant. There's a lot of opportunity for innovation in the offsite world. I've seen clients that were restaurants that released farm boxes and became farmers markets. Restaurants that have really great supply chains with spices or unique ingredients. You're able now to offer those to guests in new ways that maybe weren't a focus before or weren't really possible. But with the tools for online ordering, you can now be much more innovative with what goes on that menu. The third part is then logistics. So this is who is actually moving that product from point A to point B. Last mile logistics is notoriously razor thin margins. So we really have to be careful here to make sure that as delivery becomes a greater part of total revenue, that it doesn't become margin dilutive. And the best way to do that is to be really honest with what the cost is. So if it costs $5 to move from point A to point B, you might want to think about charging 3 of that to the guests. Or if you can't pass on the whole fee, how do you begin to increase that basket size so you are at least able to leverage the remaining cost of logistics? And then the fourth component is, of course, feedback. When guests don't come to your restaurant, you're not able to go over and say, well, hey, how was your meal? It's a little bit of a black box, so we have to go above and beyond to reach back out to those guests, either through an email or a text or just picking up the phone and calling them, saying, hey, how was your meal? We've really been working on this. We want to make sure that we're delivering you the same experience and the same level of quality in your home as you would expect when you come to our restaurant. So specifically, when it comes to delivery, the first thing is of course, getting the infrastructure so guests can order directly from you. The second thing is looking to cut costs by streamlining your menu and cross-utilizing ingredients and packaging. The third is then to maximize the cost of logistics, so that way you can make sure that you're not decreasing your profit margins. And this is really key. Delivery has a lot of hidden costs, and we want to make sure that we're appropriately passing on those prices. And then, of course, the last bit is really make sure you get that feedback. You know, if 20% of your guests are generating 80% of your orders, and this holds true for delivery, we want to get those 20% of guests over ordering directly from us and having an amazing experience every time. It sounds like a lot, but we've been able to work with clients to get them to 100% native. That's not possible for everyone, but that really should be the North Star, is recognizing not only is this about maximizing revenue and minimizing costs, but it's about maximizing your long-term brand equity. So that way, when guests are able to come back out to your restaurant, they remember you, they remember the amazing delivery experience they had, and now they want to come back and bring their friends and share it with you. Thanks so much, Kate.
So great. I love that. Maximizing your long-term brand equity. Terrific words of advice. I want to just let everybody know in the chat, I've included our website. I've also included a link to our community hotline. So if you're watching, please feel free to tune in there. And also, if we happen to have an extra minute or two at the end, feel free to pose a question in the Q&A or in the chat. And if we have a minute, I'll be happy to pose that to our panel. Next up, Adam Smith from Local Group.
Good morning. Thank you for having me, Kate. Very excited to be here. My name is Adam Smith. I'm with Local Group. We are an experiential marketing company. We connect beverage brands primarily with the consumer by way of restaurants and bars to help them increase revenue in activating different brands and different consumer engagements and the like. So today I want to talk about just 3 things here, just overall of what we've seen work already and then what can be done in the future. So, one is take advantage of time. 2, engage in deep or intimate experiences. And then 3, be active, not passive. And so number 1, take advantage of time. I know you're very busy, so I don't mean you. On average, I'm talking about more of your consumer. So, the average person right now is spending more time with their families, or with the people they live. And whether that's because they're working from home, whether that's they're commuting, or less commuting, I should say, and then less traveling, less meetings, so there's more need for lunches, dinners, just need for entertainment, something different than a Netflix, if you will. And so, I suggest speaking to that value of, maybe it's a valuable dinner, maybe it's a meal dinner plan. Kits were very popular in the beginning. So maybe it's something like that where, the people can still appreciate being able to prep a meal with their family because they used to never, be home in time, or they're traveling so much for meetings. And so when that used to be impossible, right now that is possible. So take advantage, again, of that time from the consumer standpoint. And right now the consumer is also looking a lot and has more time to look at what every business is doing. So the competition obviously is very high. And so what to do speaking to Kate's point of regulars, how do you build those lifelong customers? And by bringing in and leveraging the time that these people have, what are they doing to remember you? And if that's something from a delivery or takeout standpoint where they're making pizzas with their 2-year-old and having those memories, they're always going to remember that and bring that back with them with your brand. Number 2, develop and engage in deep and intimate experiences. Of course, not too intimate with the social distancing and everything like that, of course. But by that, I mean deep experiences from a standpoint of, a lot of operators have smaller staffs. And to Tara's point of challenging your staff and stretching those, challenge your staff to expand your brand by connecting deeper with the consumer. Rather than just more often, how to be deeper with that customer. So some different ideas potentially. Partner with another operator on an exclusive dish or an exclusive cocktail. Just fun ways to get the word out there. Perhaps have a chef or mixologist that might not be working as many hours to host a Q&A and receive even tips in the process of doing that. I think your regulars already love you, clearly, and they'll support you however you can. So rather than just allowing them to order more often, how are you going to give them that opportunity to be that evangelist, that lifelong super fan, if you will, go above, whatever that next level is after regular, what is that? What does that look like and how can you do that? And I think with those type of programs, psychologists and Q&As and feeling more a part of your operation, I think the better. And then the word of mouth opportunities just grow from there as well. So there's also need, I think, to talk about differentiation. So everybody has outdoor dining, or a lot of people have outdoor dining. How do you make that experience that much better throughout? Number 3, and final, is be active and not passive. And what I mean by that is passive is posting on social media and hoping for the best. Don't just create a new menu item and see what happens. Be purposeful, make consumers engage with a program around this new menu item. This active approach and having a program of having and encouraging people to do something rather than just look at a photo and maybe order when it's convenient. So this active approach requires action from the consumer rather than just seeing, again, a photo on Instagram and forgetting about it. So creating a program, for instance, asking customers to post their own photos on their own social media, get that word of mouth out there. Maybe it's a new dish or just in general, with the ability to be featured in, say, an art piece or a photo mosaic. And then you can have that printed very cheaply and even hang in the restaurant. I think this then can grow from there with, again, word of mouth. And when you are back to normal with inside dining, people are going to bring them because they feel more attached and a part of your restaurant, of your concept, because they're a part of it. They're physically on the wall. And right now is the time to test. So, people are looking for new and exciting things, even if it's a certain idea. Maybe it doesn't explode right away, but to test those things. And I think, next up we have Jimmy, who I know is going to talk more to the marketing aspect. But again, ask for honest feedback, like Scott mentioned, honest feedback from the staff, from the different concepts, and from there, I think you can keep iterating and go from there. So thank you all for your time. Appreciate it.
Great. Thanks a lot, Adam. And you're right. Next up is Jimmy Page from Hudson Creative.
Thank you very much, Kate, and thanks everybody for your insights today. My name is Jimmy Page. I'm the president and founder of Hudson Creative. Hudson Creative is a digital marketing agency for restaurant groups. We focus on website development, search engine optimization, and paid ad management. I'm also the website chair for NYCHG, so make sure you visit us on our website, nychg.org, where you can get more information about all of our wonderful members who are sharing all these insights this morning. We're talking about increasing revenues and minimizing costs today. And so what I want to share with you is just one of the most efficient marketing campaigns that we've ever run, because I think it's really applicable to reopening and how to work towards getting our businesses back to where they were pre-COVID. So this is a campaign that we ran where we collected over 1,300 email addresses in 9 days, spending only $185 in digital ad spend. We're looking at email marketing and collecting email addresses. Collecting email addresses and building your newsletter there's a really important opportunity to do this right now, given what's going on, because guests are trying to figure out information about their favorite restaurants. And because things are changing so quickly, it's been difficult to get this information. So email is a really effective way to do this. And we've seen a lot of people been very successful at building their email lists during the pandemic. So a lot of people have used this opportunity to build their email lists. If you haven't done this yet, don't be afraid. I'm going to give you a little information about this campaign that we've run that may help you build your email list as you're working towards a full reopening. So how we collected 1,300 emails for under $185. The first step is to create a contest. So create some type of promotion where you're going to give something away so that people can sign up to win that thing. It's really important to have an exciting offer for this part of it, which is great because, I think as people look towards reopening, how do you differentiate yourself? How do you offer something really special where people would want to sign up and interact with you? People are also looking for something really special to engage with right now. So I think, putting up an offer where you're either going to, give away a special dinner at your restaurant or a takeout, pick something that's really unique to your restaurant that people can get excited about. Second would be to create a landing page on your website where people are going to navigate to once they click through to actually enter their email to sign up for the contest. You should have a dedicated landing page. Don't try and combine this with another page that has other information on your website. Third would be to create a social ad campaign. Facebook and Instagram is a great place to run these ad campaigns because they're very social, something that somebody may want to interact with and share with somebody else. And don't forget to also share this contest or this promotion on your other channels. If you have existing emails, send it to your existing email subscribers. put it on another page on the homepage of your website so that people can click through and get to this landing page. And also talk about it on your organic social media so that people know about the contest. Lastly, select winners. We use the random formula in an Excel sheet to select who the winners are for this contest. And then finally, once you do select winners, you're going to email them and let them know that they've won this promotion. While you're emailing them, ask them if you can share their information publicly on social media to let all your other guests and people who tried to enter the contest know that this was the person who won, so they can make it like real and exciting for everybody. So again, this is how we were able to collect 1,300 emails in 9 days for $185, which you know, I think is just a really effective way to reach out to people as you're planning for your reopening plan. Thanks, Kate. Back to you.
Fantastic. I love those numbers, Jimmy. That's really impressive. Next up, we've got Ashley Bradford from Singer M. Tucker. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ashley Bradford. Thank you, Kate. I'm with Singer M. Tucker. We are a food service supply distributor, New York City market. Today, I want to talk about right now savings. If you called me today and said, Ashley, I need to find savings, what I'd say to you is let's look at your weekly orders. Anything you order on a weekly basis, from back of the house supplies, your C-folds, gloves, anything like that, to front of the house, and most importantly, packaging right now. I wanted to go through an example early on in this pandemic. I have a group, there are 4 different concepts under one brand, and they have never been in the to-go game, but they're neighborhood based. So they wanted to, of course, capitalize on getting back into the takeout and back in the market in a takeout and delivery way. So we took a look at what they were doing right now for their packaging, and how we could figure out in 3 different aspects where we could save them money and start saving them money right away. One thing is we found packaging that was appropriate for the amount of food that was going in it. Just because a foil container is super cheap, it doesn't mean that you're going to save overall, just because it could be a 38-ounce foil container when your food is actually 24 ounces. And when you're dealing with new staff, you want to make sure that you don't give them the extra room to put the extra protein in. That's just going to end up costing you in the long run. The other thing we can do, and I know I am, and I'm sure other distributors are as well, is help you consolidate packaging manufacturers. Anything that's stocked in their warehouses are going to save you in the long run. You can consolidate on bases and lids, and the same lid can fit a couple different bases. What we did for this one group was, since they were 4 different concepts, we got it down to 15 SKUs, 3 of which the one lid fits 3 different packaging options. So that really helps with inventory. And then lastly, we created a consolidated order guide because they had a lot of new staff that they were hiring. So it just made it super easy to check stock levels, make sure that anything that they were reordering was the managers could easily walk in and be like, why did you order 2 cases of this? Well, because we needed, we used 3 cases of this last week and we had 1 as our stock par. So that's a really big part of it. So that's also on the labor savings as well. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about your packaging, whether we work together or not. I'm happy to help out. Again, my name is Ashley Bradford with Singer M. Tucker. Thank you so much, Kate.
Thanks for joining us today. And that's so interesting that you can have these multiples of packaging, and yet actually things are a little more universal than I would think. So that's incredible advice, and to get it down to so few items. What really nice insight there. So next up, we've got Harmony Trujillo from York Building Services.
Good morning, everybody. I was thinking about this. Really, we want to, for the cleaning industry, I'm Harmony. I'm with York Building Services. We're a commercial cleaning company, and we help a lot of the restaurants in the New York area with their overnight and daily cleaning services. So in thinking about this, for me, for us, we want to help our clients minimize the cost, but maximize effectiveness. When budgets need to be cut, it's very tempting to look toward the cleaning department and see what can be cut, but right now is really no time for that. Although there are ways that we can work this out and figure it out. I would say one of the first things is check in with a consultant. Someone like Kate She's going to connect with a person like me for the cleaning aspect, and we're going to find the redundancies. We're going to find the things that are taking an extra amount of time. A great example is anti-fatigue mats. Some restaurants are against them. Some restaurants love them and can't live without them, but they're costing you a lot of money cleaning every night. So if we want to think about a restaurant the size of French Roast, for example, or the Odeon, just that size, if they're doing cleaning mats all throughout the kitchen, this is $20,000 to $30,000 a year in the cleaning costs. That's a lot of money. That's a good part-time guy you could have had around for, you know, doing all kinds of things. That's something that you could remove that's going to save you a lot of money. Something you could add would be runners from the kitchen into the front of house. A lot of front of house flooring takes a lot of scrubbing to get rid of grease stains, and that runner just in that one space could save a little bit of time in the overnight mopping in front of house. You could save about $10,000 a year in extra time that you're taking to get those grease stains out from the front of house floors. You might want to consider sharing your workload with your cleaning company. A lot of people are doing that right now. Most of my clients are doing that right now. Disinfecting is important. Cleaning is important right now. So you want to find a really smart way of doing it, but it's absolutely doable. For some clients, we're only coming in 2 or 3 times a week and doing a deep clean in the kitchen, doing a full disinfection throughout the whole house. And on the days that we're not there, they're cleaning after themselves and they're doing their own disinfection in the mornings. It's just not going to be quite as deep of a job in the cleaning department. We can also pick up the heavier items like taking out recycling, taking out garbage, cleaning out the garbage room, all those dirty things that your kitchen guys aren't going to want to do. And then I was thinking about keeping your cleaning up. This is no time to get silly and let things really fall to the side. We have to make sure that our guests and our employees trust that we have their best interests. We have to make sure that they understand that we're not going to let that go. Their health is the most important thing. And we want to make sure that they have a clean, safe, and healthy work environment. Their perspective matters. The guest perspective matters. It's important. And that's it for me. Thanks, Kate.
Terrific. Thank you so much. We are running a little ahead of time. So if anyone who's watching has a specific question for any one of our panelists, we have 3 more to go. Please post them in the Q&A and also in the chat, which I'll be monitoring. We're happy to answer questions live since we have a couple extra minutes. So feel free. Joining us next is Joel Gracie. How are you today, Joel?
Hey, good. Good morning, Kate. And this is really great. I'm really enjoying this and getting to hear everybody's insights. My name's Joel Gracie. I'm with BHB Pest Elimination, and we've been doing the exterminating for New York City restaurants since 1969. I think we all probably know that joke where the guy at the restaurant says to the waiter, waiter, what's this fly doing in my soup? And the waiter says, he's doing the backstroke. And what I love about that joke is the waiter is kind of like, in reality, he's kind of managing expectations. Maybe this diner feels like, I mean, certainly he should get a new soup, but maybe he feels like I should get a free dinner or whatever. And the waiter, even though it's a joke, he's kind of understanding that, you know, nature is doing what nature does. This is kind of how it is. The conditions are such that pests are going to be around. And the number one way that I would recommend to any owner operator to save on their pest control costs, since there really is not any magic wand to get rid of pests, it's part of nature, it's part of the ecosystem, it's part of the world we live in. The number one way to manage your pest control costs is for you to know your own conditions, to understand and take ownership of everything from this is the day we get deliveries. I know we're going to have all these deliveries come in with cardboard boxes. They're going to be full of produce. Maybe the produce is compromised. Have we inspected it? Our perimeter of our restaurant. When is the last time I went all the way around the restaurant, my team, and looked and saw what the structure inside my restaurant looks like? Who are my neighbors? Do I have moisture conditions, standing water somewhere that's going to cause pests? How many drains do I have? It's funny. One of the first restaurants that I really started to manage working with almost 10 years ago, the GM handed me a list of all 58 of their drains. And I'm thinking, I don't even know how many drains are in my house. You know what I'm saying? And that they had such an understanding of their conditions. And by having a team member who is going through your restaurant constantly, aware of what's happening, what's changing, hot weather, deliveries, plumbing, all these sorts of things, you can really keep your pest control costs down. And when you think about it, your exterminator is probably in your restaurant maybe 1 hour a week, maybe 2 hours a week, maybe less than that, maybe half an hour a week, and maybe 1 hour a month. That's giving nature, 29 days to do what nature does. So those 29 days are on your team to say, when's the last time we went around, checked everything out, made sure that we understood our conditions, and kind of stayed ahead of it. It's a proactive measure. I'll just close by saying I remember one time in a famous restaurant downtown, someone had said they saw something, run under the sink or whatever. And the owner of the restaurant, who was wearing, a suit that probably cost more than, my paycheck or whatever, he got down on his hands and knees and crawled under the sink to see where this thing could have gone. And that just showed me he took ownership. He understood the conditions, and by doing that, you're going to save yourself on pest control costs. So know your conditions and you will save on pest control costs, since there is no magic wand. If I can help you, I'll be glad to. Kate, thanks so much for this meeting today.
Thank you, Joel. Really appreciate your insight. And I've definitely known owners like that who are in there. So I love the know your conditions. I think that's the perfect way to put it, so that people can sort of imagine what's happening. So next up, we have Cash Singh from Aerial Build and Design.
Thank you, Kate. Just a quick sound check. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. Good morning, everybody. My name is Cash from Aerial Design and Build. We have been around about 22 years doing construction for restaurants in New York City. And I like how Joel said, let nature take its course. So you will not see my video because nature has taken its course on my hair. Haven't cut it since March and is growing everywhere. So with that said, I'm actually going to talk a little bit about design and construction, both aspects of it. When we talk about cost, the largest check you guys ever going to cut in the beginning is for our services of the architect, designer, engineer, kitchen designer, and the contractor. The contractor is typically going to get the largest check because that's where the cost of the construction is going to be in the beginning. So that's where we want to try to manage what you're paying your contractor, how the design is happening, and so on. So first, when you're selecting your space with your broker, ensure it meets not just the space criteria. We just don't want to talk about square footage or frontage or traffic, but also talk that it meets your existing services. And what it means is that you have enough electricity, that you have enough gas. These two simple things, if you have enough, will save you so much time and so much money not having to do any upgrades. So choose the space wisely. Make sure it has those services. If the services are not there, ensure that your landlord will somehow pitch in and give you either free rent or cost to do it. Next, choose the design of the space wisely. Make sure you have that conversation. I'm doing air quotes, which are you guys seeing the air quotes. Cost conversation with your design and architect. Ask them clearly, how much is this going to cost? How much is that going to cost? So for example, when you guys are doing a countertop or something, don't let the designer or architect go out there and choose a marble that's going to cost you $60 coming from Italy. Ask the question, what's the alternative for a $20 countertop? What does it look like? There are a lot of man-made stones these days that are much, much more preferable, easier to service, clean, and maintain, right? So prior to construction, I want to talk about demolition. A lot of constructions that we do recently and some in the past, the construction for the demolition and the main construction are combined together. Sure, it saves you not having to file with the city twice, but the headaches that you're going to save from doing the demolition first is going to eliminate about 80% of your surprises. Nothing is 100%, but 80% of, oh my gosh, what was there? Oh, I didn't see that. That all will go away when you do demolition. The other interesting thing is a lot of landlords will do the demolition for you. They will white box it. All you got to do is ask. Now, when choosing your construction in a landmark area has its own challenges. Some of you guys know what landmarks is. Landmarks is where the city will not allow you, with certain restrictions, change the frontage of the space. So be careful what you choose in landmarks. Our experience, if you really got to do what you got to do in landmarks, file landmarks and construction separately. So this is a really cool tip because landmarks, when I mean landmarks is the Department of Building landmarks. Can hold you up between 6 months to 8 months just trying to approve if that paint of the new door you're putting outside is going to meet the criteria of landmarks. They are very picky people, just be careful. But when you file separately, what that allows is that your construction team can do all the work inside while letting the time to pass by for the landmarks to approve the exterior work. Now, during your construction, be involved with your contractor. Talk to them, have weekly meetings, ask them that so that you can manage any cost overrun. There are going to be cost overruns. You got to have 10% to 15% overage in your cost construction anyway. Any change orders, approve them before them happening. So you know it, your contractor knows it, we're all on the same page. Don't let them, oh yeah, we'll do it now. Oh, we'll think about it later. Oh, we'll get to that later. Because in the end, when your contractor compiles all of this and comes with a big change order, there's going to be so much back and forth and it's going to leave a sour taste. So make sure you're with your contractor, you're getting everything sorted out while the process is going on. I'm going to throw a little bit of a real life example. We're bidding right now a project which is a QSR. It's a quick service restaurant, not fancy, not really high end, but the toilets are $1,200. There's this really expensive Duroit toilets. If you walk into Home Depot, American Standard, Kohler, just as good, just as great, they'll probably cost you $300, $400. The grab bars are more than $400 each. There are so many places where you can put that cost and not have the cost in a toilet. The tiles can be cheaper. So we are seeing this time during where clients come in, I don't want to spend this much money. I don't want to spend that much money. So look where you can save, talk with your designer, talk with your architect as you design the space before it gets to the GC. So you're minimizing costs in the beginning rather than spending time minimizing it again when you get to your contractor. So any questions, shoot them in the chat box, speak up, we'll hear for you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Cash. Appreciate it. And our last person before we go to Q&A is, there she is, Chandra Geis. Nice to see you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Let's try this again. Cash, I'm really sad we didn't get to see that wild mane today. Thank you everyone for your patience with my technical difficulties. My name is Chandra Geis. I manage the restaurant success team for Resi. And I've been working with table management software for the past 3.5 years. And prior to that, worked in restaurant operations for over 20 years. Like myself, most of my team has a really strong background in restaurant operations, and the hospitality industry is our life's work. With this pandemic being completely new territory for all of us, it was important to try to figure out where to begin to moving forward. We are at an incredible advantage in that we work with partners all over the world, and our objective was to pull the learnings and experiences of markets where the pandemic was more advanced into a resource that has practical application for our partners. We released a playbook called Relaunching an Industry for anyone in the industry to access. It really focuses on three main concepts that have been covered a lot today so far: diner behavior, operational considerations, and alternative revenue streams. Everything we've been working on in recent months further supports these ideas in this narrative. Our company is really fortunate in being able to offer complete fee relief through the end of 2020 for all existing and new partners. For anyone that's ever used table management, you know that can be a significant cost savings, and the kind of marketing associated with the editorial content that Resi puts out can add an invaluable visibility for your space, especially at this time. We've seen many restaurants that have never used table management before come to us to get their inventory online. Doing so allows them to manage the food and beverage inventories they're keeping on hand, to organize appropriate staffing, to keep contact tracing reports, etc. This is a traumatic experience for everyone, and the hospitality industry is arguably the best place to handle this, because inviting people into our spaces and making them feel at ease and taken care of is what this industry is about. We wanted to help our partners offer peace of mind to guests and encourage diners to venture out in ways that make them feel safe and cared for. We added a remote waitlist feature to avoid congestion at the host stand and allow two-way communications with guests to let them know when it's safe to arrive. We offer customizable text and email templates that can direct folks to virtually hosted menus or inform them of operational changes or requirements. We've also added contactless payment or ticketing to minimize physical contact when settling up the bill at the end of the experience. We offer complex reporting and consultancy from our years of experience to help build reservation book that will maximize your income while adhering to local mandates and restrictions. We have a business model calculator that can aid in planning out what alternative options could be viable and supplementing a diminished return to service. So that kind of goes hand in hand with what Nandu was referencing earlier. For those that have been fortunate enough to reopen their doors, putting parameters in place to ensure that they accommodate enough volume is critical. Taking a look at historical no-show or late cancellation rates can help in planning for a traumatized public to allow for overbooking. Using past data can also help in making informed decisions in regards to style of service or menu offerings, and reducing table turn times, offering a smaller menu, communicating those changes to diners is so important. Although Resi has always offered reservations, we put a lot of energy and focus into ways we can support restaurants as they determine kind of what next looks like. For some, that means getting super creative with their offerings to ensure people will have an experience in their homes that's reflective of the same level of care that they might receive in the restaurant's dining room. As Scott mentioned, we've seen everything from grocery boxes that support local purveyors, farmers, ranchers, to dry goods and provisions, to meal kits with virtual or personalized instructions, to drive-in style dining, and so much more. This industry is full of artisans that are resilient and passionate, and it's been incredibly inspiring to watch how people have been able to adapt to this new normal and still maintain the vision. It's pretty incredible to hear all of the synergies across all the topics that have been covered today. I think my biggest advice to operators is don't be afraid to think more creatively about your business, to make adjustments that you might have discounted previously, and to iterate and adapt as new information comes in. The more people go out to eat, the more you're going to have an understanding of what it is that they want. We're all learning as the situation progresses, and the only way to kind of manage this uncertainty is to be open to changing. To open doors and listen as diners tell us what they want and how they want it. Thank you. Back to you, Kate.
Thank you so much. Finishing strong, Chan. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for tuning in with us. We've had a few Q&As posed. Cash actually answered one in the Q&A, so you can look at that. Thank you, Cash. We also had some really nice feedback from an anonymous attendee, so thank you for that. We really appreciate it. But I have 3 questions that I quickly want to touch on before we sign off today. So the first one is directed towards Nandu, if you want to join me. Nandu, this comes from Samantha Finkelstein. When planning or drafting a P&L to use as a planning tool rather than a reporting tool, proactive versus reactive. Can you make recommendations on what to base your numbers on, seeing as you cannot compare year over year or even month over month, given the current circumstances? Nandu, in a minute, can you answer this very cool question?
In a minute, Kate, I can. Great point, Samantha. Thanks for this question. It is practically impossible to know how much you're going to earn this coming month. So the first thing is a mindset that you need to keep in mind. Even if you don't get it right, even if you don't match those numbers at the end of the month, you'll just get better at projecting and forecasting your numbers for the following month. So don't beat yourself over it. Be a little compassionate and kind that you'll get it right. The second thing to do is look at what the market is achieving as year on year. Typically, I'm hearing at 60% of last year's revenues, 50 to 60%. So start over there. What were your revenues of so if you're looking for August, what were your revenues for last August? And maybe take 50 to 60% of those revenues, put them down in the P&L, work out your costs, look at your profit and loss, and then find a way to make it happen. Thanks, Kate.
Fantastic. Thank you. We have another question. I believe this is for Scott. Does anyone have any more tips other than putting flyers in the bag to pull customers away from third-party delivery platforms and get them to order directly from the restaurant?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, the first step is having that native delivery. I recommend always starting with your point of sale system, looking at Toast and Square in particular. Both have really great extensions to be able to leverage that menu and infrastructure you've already built into an online ordering platform. From there, I look at really getting competitive with yourself almost and saying, well, what can I do to make my menu special and unique? If I have this really special dish, do I want to be putting that on a third party, or can I make that part of a campaign to attract guests to my first party channel? I would say other services that offer great first party are Bbot here in the city, and then Relay Delivery to actually complete that last mile logistics. The last service I would recommend people check out is a company called Bicky. They will actually act as your CRM. They'll pull in emails from all of your different platforms with the sole goal of increasing guest frequency, as well as retargeting those third-party channels both through email and social, and redirecting them back to your native channel.
Great, thank you so much. And we have another question. I think, Jimmy, this will be for you. Any recommendations for first-party ordering services we should use and point customers to instead of third-party delivery partners? Any insights there?
So I think we sort of Scott and I reversed the order a little bit here. Scott was just talking, about which native application to use, and how to set that up so that you do have a first party or native application. What I can weigh in on is, restaurant operators are always talking about owning your data. There are only 3 places that you can use once you've set up that native application and you have it linked on your website and through your POS system, there's only 3 areas where you can market to then get your guests off of using that third-party application and onto your own website. And that's your website and users who are visiting your website, email and the email subscribers that you have, and social media followers. So these are what we would call your first party data, your first party marketing data places. And again, it's your website, email, and social media following. The more you can increase the number of people who are interacting with you in those places, the larger audience you have and the larger chance you have to move those people from the third-party application to your native application that Scott Landers helped you set up.
Amen to that. Thank you. Thanks everybody for all of your amazing insights. I know I learned a lot. And for those of you joining us today, thank you as always for your support, for your attention, and just know that we'll be posting a summary and the full video on our website in just a couple of days. This is something you can then review or you can share with your friends. Of course, we always welcome having new folks join our own email list, and there's ways that you can do that right at the top of our live site, New York City, nychg.org. Thanks for joining us, and look for upcoming events. And coming up in August, we will be featuring an event on racial inequity in hospitality. So stay tuned for more information about that. Until then, we'll see you on Zoom and in our emails. Thanks so much for joining us. Take care.